Hey, great afternoon, everybody. So, thank you so much once again for joining me. But today's a very important topic for me. So, as you already know, right, and this is going to be a very short video. I just like to jump in here and just basically fill all of you in based on the things that I've seen, from the experts and all the entrepreneurs out there and all the great mindsets, and to see what the hell is happening in our world. There's a lot of uncertainty going on right now, and obviously, everything going on in Russia and around the world, our inflation that we're facing right now, and all of these things, you put them all together, and it's almost like, okay, what's happening, right? What's going on. So basically, the purpose of this video is just to fill you in what I know. And so, of course, you're going to be doing your due diligence as well. So, as you already know, Russia has invaded Ukraine. And what does that mean to us? Why should we care? Why do we even care about Russia? Half of Americans didn't know where Ukraine was just a couple months ago. But it is really important simply for a lot of reasons. But I'm going to tell you two reasons. One, we're humankind. We're a humankind, right? A world, right? We should care about each other as a human being. There's a lot of people out there being bombarded, and whether that's military, what have you. But more importantly, there's a lot of civilians being killed. I saw this video of this young little children. She was 6 years old. She eventually passed away, and her mom was obviously very, very sad. And so that is a topic that touches your heart, whether you're a parent or you're not. For me, I'm a parent, so it touches me, and so that is very important to me. That is super important to me as far as what are we doing about it? Why are we invading? Why is Russia invading a country that essentially didn't cause anything? There's a lot of reasons for it, and this involves a lot of politics. And so a lot of you may or may not know, right? The United States is part of an ally. It's called NATO. And so NATO, it's essentially a group of countries it's united. Ukraine wanted to be involved in that country. Russia says, no, you were part of the Soviet Union, so we're not going to allow you to be part of it. And so, it's almost like, Russia is trying to take his old girlfriend that essentially left him, right? This is what happened in 1990, 1991 when the Soviet Union was divided, and then eventually Ukraine became what it is, Ukraine today. And so Russia's trying to take that back. Mr. Putin is saying, you're a part of us, and so we're going to take you back. Ukraine is saying, no, we're not. We love our freedom. We love to be a free country, and so we're going to join NATO, right? That was part of the conversations. But why is the United States not being involved in the war, right? You might ask yourself, well, there's a lot of reasons why. Part of it is because Ukraine is not part of our country as a united nation, and so that alone, if the United States sets a foot into this country, it's going to cause it's going to cause a war that we essentially we're trying to avoid. Russia has already said that Mr. Putin, he already put his nuclear people, right, on high alert. Now, what does that mean? Right? We're going to get invaded by a nuclear war or what have you, so there's essentially, I believe, just 4 or 5 countries that have nuclear weapons. And then that is, one of them is the United States. The second one is Russia. Russia has the biggest one. So with that being said, that is one of the reasons why we're not getting involved in it, right? And then you might say, well, why is other countries not being involved in it? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. Germany, essentially, it's Russia is the biggest exporter in oil and gas. And so that essentially what it does, it's if we get involved in it, Russia could easily say, well, I'm going to cut off my pipeline for gas, and right now it's winter out there, right? And it's going to be really cold. You see all these families, trying to flee the country and getting out of it. And so, that's part of the reason. And there's going to be all the multiple reasons that, why other countries are not being involved in it. But that is the main reason. So we're not getting involved for that because Ukraine is not part of our country, not of our ally. So with that being said, how do we resolve this? What's going to happen? Well, there's a lot of things. We really don't know what's going to happen. It's really up to Putin to stop the war. He has to say so. He has the power, the ability to do so that he can stop and bombarding all the all these innocent people, right, that essentially are paying the price for it. And how is that going to affect us? Well, you guys already seen the inflation going on in our country that we have now, right? We have a 7.5% inflation, meaning that if you go to the store, everything is 7.5% more. I would argue and say that that's a little bit more, right? Look at how home prices, how much have they gone up in the last 2 years? Almost 22%, 23%. Is that fair to say? You go to the 99-cent store, a lot of the products there, you go in there, they're no longer 99-cent store. They're no longer $1. They're $1.25. So what does that say? Would it be fair that inflation is right around the 25%? Right. So that's a debate to argue. But anyway, so the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, has already said that it's a 7.5%. So if you have your money, if you have $100 just sitting in the bank, not doing absolutely anything, that money is losing about 7.5% of purchasing power, right? So you might think, well, I'm going to keep my money safe. I'm just going to leave it there, and essentially, I'm not going to do nothing with it. Fine, you could do that. You could essentially do that, right? So your money is going to lose essentially, 7.5% of purchasing power. Now, with another thing is you could invest it. That's what a lot of investors do. They see this as an opportunity, and so essentially that's one of the things you could do. But I'm not here to tell you what to do, right? I'm just here to tell you that inflation is hitting us hard. Our gas prices all across the board are just tremendously have gone up over the last 6 months, 4 months. And so when you look at the average price of gas, from last year to now, it's hitting the $2. And don't be surprised if you start seeing gas prices going up to $6, $7, $8, $9, $10. That is coming soon, right? $10 a gas will be something that will be coming soon. But the point I'm trying to make is simple. What are we doing about inflation? How do we tackle this? How are we gonna deal with the war in that's happening all the way across, halfway across the world? Well, two simple things. Federal Reserve has already announced that they're going to start raising interest rates. And I'm not talking about just mortgage rates. I'm talking about just in general. Mortgage rates are going to go up all across the board. That is for certain that's going to happen. This month alone, in 2 weeks from now, they're going to have a meeting where they will make a vote whether they can raise it. It's called 25 basis points. So a quarter of a point. So 1%, a quarter of a point is good. That's how much the interest rate is going to go up. So essentially, let's just say an example, and for the sake of understanding what it is, right? Because mortgage is a big deal right now. Housing. Let's just say that you get it an interest rate of 3.5%. Well, guess what? That's it if you're in essential. Not essential. I'm sorry. That is if you are the ideal buyer. You got the 3.5%. Well, now you're getting a 3.75%. So it all depends. But the point is that interest rates are going up. So with that being said, inflation is high. It's going to cost me more to borrow money. It's going to cost me more to finance my whatever is it that I'm after. I'm paying more for groceries. I'm paying more for gas. Childcare it's essentially going up as well. So what's going to happen, right? How do we do all of this, right? How do we deal with the inflation? So the Federal Reserve has a job, and it's walking on eggshells. They literally have to bring it in through a needle, and then not put inflation too high, but also not put it too low. Because what we will find a year from now is that we might end up in a recession. That's right, a recession a year from now, where essentially if the interest rates get too high or they don't get high enough and then prices keep going up, well, what could happen? So a recession is essentially what flushes everything out. And that is what the Federal Reserve is trying to avoid without raising interest rates way too much or not raising them enough. Ukraine and Russia is the number one supplier for oil, right? That is the number one way of getting money. Gas essentially as well. We get oil from Russia. So if we can drill more oil out of the United States, that will be something that could help us all in the sake of bringing gas prices down, right? Combating inflation. We don't have to export. We could just bring it in the house. We have the abilities. We have the resources. The president said that everything should be American made. So why can't we have oil being made here in the United States? You know, that is one big thing. So we need to do that. We need to do that in order to combat inflation and in order to stop the war out there. Because therefore, Putin will not have a way to finance his war. And he may or he may not use his nuclear weapon. We just don't know. We just don't know how far this man could go. But this is a big deal. This is a big deal. This is something that you typically would read in your history class, in your history book. And what this president, Mr. Zelensky, is doing out there, it's huge. It's huge. It's an inspiration for leaders, for presidents, because essentially he's out there, he's on the boost. He says, I'm not gonna leave this country. I'm not leaving. My people are here. You know, what happened to the president of Afghanistan? He was one of the first people that took off, right? This president is not. He's not like that. You know, he's essentially shifting the entire way you see a president. And we have seen that too in El Salvador. Out of all places, El Salvador has another president that has eventually interrupted the pattern of people, the way they do business, the way they interact with others. So I'm not here to advocate anything, but if we want to make a big change, I think we need a leader like that. We need a leader that someone like in El Salvador and Ukraine, where they're not afraid to make those moves. I don't care what you think. I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to do what's right for my people. I don't care if I'm part of the left. I don't care if I'm part of the right. I'm going to do what is right. And I'm going to stay in between and do what is necessary in order to carry my people and lead them out of this situation that we're in. So that is very inspiring for me. That is something that we're dealing with right now as a country, as a nation, as a world. And so that is essentially how we would combat this war that they're trying to start. They already started in Europe, but we're trying to make sure that it doesn't escalate, it doesn't spread even more. And then combating inflation. You know, inflation, it's a huge thing. And so I just wanted to hop in here and just give you guys my thought and see what I think. Okay, if you think that is different, you know, please let me know, comment it, and then disagree with me, that's okay. I'm okay. I want to hear. It's not about agreeing. It's just about what you think, because what you think is right to you in your own eyes, and I completely respect that. So I'm just giving you my point of view on what is happening and how could this be resolved. So with that being said, thank you guys for jumping in. Thank you for watching and allowing me to share with you this message. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.